Have you ever pondered what will become of the solar system and our planet? You may find it interesting to learn that the Sun, which is the only entity holding the solar system together, is about to destroy it. However, when and how will all of this occur? Will Earth withstand the Sun's unavoidable expansion, or will it be engulfed by its massive host star? Hello and welcome to AWZ News. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon. Watch today's video to learn about a recent study that shows when Earth, Venus, and Mercury will be consumed by the Sun. In the scheme of things, our Sun and all other stars have a finite lifespan. Our Sun, which is considered a main sequence star, is in the middle of its life cycle at slightly over 4.6 billion years old. The helium core of the planet is heated by burning hydrogen fuel, producing light and energy necessary for life on Earth. But as the Sun ages, its hydrogen supply will eventually run out, and it will then experience a dramatic change. The Sun will eventually become a red giant star when its outer layers expand due to the pressure of its own gravity, which will cause the core to compress after its hydrogen is gone. Over the course of the next 4 to 7 billion years, the Sun will enter this next phase of its expansion, growing to a diameter that would eventually surpass Earth's present orbit and go well beyond the orbits of Mercury and Venus. Other stars have also been shown to turn into red giants, swallowing up neighboring planets in the process. One such star is known as BD plus 48740. This star is around 1.6 times the mass of the Sun and circles the planet at a distance of about 2,000 light-years. The star's atmosphere was examined, and it was discovered to contain unusually high concentrations of lithium, a rare metal only present on rocky planets. This implies that BD 740 has lately grown to such an extent that it has enveloped a neighboring planet, scorching it to the point that the planet has discharged its lithium stores onto the surface of the star. This is what will inevitably happen to Venus, Mercury, and maybe even Earth. According to current estimates, the Sun will enlarge to the point where it orbits Mercury in around 6 billion years, swallowing the planet in a few thousand years and eviscerating its whole mass. Mercury is already heated. After a few million years, the expanding Sun will pass across Venus' orbit, removing its sulfurous atmosphere before swallowing the rocky planet and converting it into a heap of planetary ash. The end of Earth. The Sun will soon approach Earth's orbit and swallow our blue planet into its monstrous mass when it expands past the orbits of Mercury and Venus. Nonetheless, there have been debates among scientists as to whether Earth might have intentionally or accidentally avoided the Sun's fury. Scientists dispute on what will eventually happen to Earth, even though they all agree that the Sun will eventually expand. According to some research, Earth may be able to elude the Sun because, when it enters its red giant phase, the Sun loses mass, which weakens the force of gravity holding the solar system's planets together. Because of this decrease in solar gravity, the planets will spiral outward and gradually move away from the expanding star. It is predicted that the Sun will reach its maximum radius at a distance of around 1.2 astronomical units, or little beyond Earth's present orbit. The Sun will have shed around 1/3 of its mass when it reaches its greatest radius during its red giant phase. However, the issue still stands: will Earth be able to escape the Sun's flaming grasp at a fast enough pace, or will the Sun's expansion rate surpass Earth's velocity before it reaches a safe distance? To ascertain this, a number of criteria must be taken into account. The likelihood that Earth would not outrun the expanding Sun was computed by physicist Lorenzo Lorio of the National Institute of Nuclear Physics in Italy. This interaction is expected to occur as Earth grows into a red giant. Lorio said he believes Earth would only migrate outward at a pace of 3 mm per year, assuming that the Sun's annual mass loss stays basically constant during its transformation into a red giant. This indicates that, with the Sun expanding 1,000,000 times faster, our planet will only move by roughly 0.0002 astronomical units by the red giant phase of the solar, covering 1 astronomical unit in a matter of millions of years. This implies that Earth won't be able to outrun the Sun and that it may eventually melt and swallow the planet. Although the majority of solar expansion models predict that Earth won't be engulfed in the Sun for another 4 to 6 billion years, it's possible that Earth may cease to support life much earlier. The Sun will steadily grow brighter and hotter, as it has done since its formation, long before the hydrogen in its core runs out. Presently, the Sun's brightness grows by 10% per billion years. This results in an increase in the solar system's heat and solar radiation output. Though it might not seem like much, a 10% increase in the Sun's brightness would have disastrous consequences for our planet. As the Sun's temperature rises, the habitable zone of the solar system will expand beyond Earth's orbit due to the substantial increase in temperature in this area. The ice caps will melt and the liquid water in our lakes and seas will start to evaporate when Earth is no longer in the habitable zone. Because more water will be present in the atmosphere, trapping heat and sharply increasing the planet's surface temperatures, this will have a disastrous greenhouse gas impact. This will set off a chain reaction of greenhouse gas emissions similar to that which transformed Venus into the scorching, inhospitable planet it is today. Venus is thought to have once had an atmosphere as well, but when the Sun's brightness increased, the heat destroyed the atmosphere, trapping hazardous amounts of greenhouse gases on the planet's surface and essentially transforming it into the rocky hell it is today. It is uncertain precisely when and how quickly the process of the Sun becoming brighter will occur. While some experts disagree, others claim that it won't occur for much over 1 billion years. Before the planet reaches 1 billion years old, some scientists predict that plant and human life will be able to live there practically. This is because the planet will lose water and life far more quickly as a result of the drying up of the oceans caused by the increasing heat from the Sun, rocks, and plate tectonics. According to certain scientific viewpoints, life might be able to adapt and endure on a hotter planet for a period of time greater than 1 billion years. There is still a very good chance that life will exist on Earth for another billion years or more until our planet completely changes into the next Venus. Additionally, the Sun will be 40% brighter than it is now when it enters its red giant phase in 4 to 6 billion years, when Earth would just be another rocky planet devoid of life. However, there is some positive news. 1 billion years is a considerable time, especially when compared to the mere few thousand years that humans have existed. Based only on our achievements in the past several decades, experts predict that mankind will have developed into an interplanetary society and established new colonies, if not outposts, on other exoplanets by then, assuming it is still there. All of this is presuming that humans will still be here by then and that a catastrophic occurrence, such as an asteroid strike, hasn't destroyed us. Cross your fingers. The Sun's eventual metamorphosis into a red giant is a cosmic inevitability, even if experts disagree as to whether or not Earth would become livable. The Sun will not stop growing even after it has swallowed up Earth or whatever remains of it, and it may eventually consume our planet as it does so. When the Sun fully develops into a red giant, it will take around 7.5 billion years to reach a maximum size that is more than 256 times larger than it is now. The habitable zone, which already extends from 49 to 71 astronomical units and is already well into the Kuiper belt, will be forced farther out into the solar system by the Sun's increased size and activity. Thus, even if Earth may no longer exist, the issue of whether planets like Jupiter and Saturn that are now part of the new habitable zone will eventually become livable still remains. The solution, however, is more complicated than we may initially believe. The death of other worlds since Jupiter and Saturn are now located in the solar system's new habitable zone, which is home to a red giant star. Their atmospheres will undergo significant, if not wholly positive, alteration. The closer these gas giant planets are to the Sun and the more solar wind that reaches their surfaces, the slower but more certain erosion of their gaseous atmosphere. Though it is anticipated, this may not really be the case. Numerous gas giant exoplanets have been seen by astronomers orbiting around their red giant Sun. These so-called hot Jupiters have somehow managed to hold on to their gaseous atmospheres, and in certain instances, the strong radiation from the star has even caused extraordinary increases in the atmosphere's puffiness. Because of this, scientists now propose that when our Sun turns red giant, Jupiter's and Saturn's futures will remain unknown. New worlds to set through. Within the newly created habitable zone of a red giant solar system, Titan, the moon of Saturn, will be a top contender for habitation, even if Jupiter and Saturn may never be viable planets. As of right now, Titan is the only known satellite in our solar system to have a substantial atmosphere. Titan could have a few 100 million years of livable circumstances akin to those of early Earth, according to simulations exploring the potential. Ammonia would be present in liquid seas, and during that time, perhaps an organism might evolve. Pluto and Triton, Neptune's moon, would also grow to be rich resources for possibly habitable worlds whose temperatures would be similar to those of Earth's tropical regions. Since our planets might not exist at that time, these stony planets and their satellites could provide humankind with alternatives. What say you? Will Earth be able to withstand the Sun's coming conflagration, or will we need to search the cosmos for a new place to live?